Let's talk about the largest university in this country, the University of Toronto. A pro-Palestinian encampment was established there overnight. You can hear the protesters chanting along that fence at the campus, and they are demanding that the University of Toronto divest from companies and other entities associated with Israel. CBC's Megan Fitzpatrick is once again at the University of Toronto campus. She's been there all day today, helping us make sense of what's going on there. What's the mood there now, Megan?
Yeah, well, this has been going on since about 4 a.m. this morning, Natasha, and that's when some students showed up here and they were able to breach the fence that had been erected a few days ago. I'll show you exactly where. You can sort of see the opening there. That's where some of the students essentially removed a piece of the fence and came in at 4 this morning. And they've set up kind of a checkpoint, almost like a table where they're asking people who arrive here to check in with them, identify themselves before they're sort of permitted to come in and walk around. And a little while ago, a lady did make her way in here, a woman, and the student organizers, the protesters here, saying she refused to identify herself and check in with them, and she walked around the grounds here. I'll show you. Well, I think you're running some B-roll of that now. What happened? She walked around, and the protesters were asking her to leave, and they sort of surrounded her and were trying to escort her towards the exit. It did get a bit heated. There was a little bit of shoving as that sort of crowd was around her, and some yelling back and forth. She did eventually leave, and she is gone now. So that had raised the temperature a little bit, but for the most part, for the last couple hours, it has been quite calm and quiet here. The students has set up a few dozen tents that are sort of in a circle, and they have some loudspeakers set up and some tables with water and coffee and food, and they're essentially just here as they have been for a couple of hours. Now, U of T has responded to this action by the students. They have issued a statement. I'll read part of it now. They're saying the university respects the rights of members of our community to assemble and protest within the limits of the law and U of T policies, but they must not interfere with the ability of students, faculty, librarians, and staff to learn, teach, research, and work on our campuses or disrupt or impede other university activities. U of T campuses do remain open. Our preference is to start with dialogue. Those who contravene university policy or the law risk the consequences set out in various laws and policies, such as the Code of Student Conduct, which could include suspension. So that's a statement from U of T. Also, a few hours ago, earlier, some flyers were essentially dropped off and distributed to the protesters from the school, repeating part of that statement and also telling them that tents are not to be erected, that protests will not be allowed past 10 p.m., that flyer said, as well as some other sort of rules, including no smoking, alcohol, drugs, no hate speech will be tolerated, the rules said as well. One of the students reading that statement out over a loudspeaker when it arrived and was circulated here, Natasha, which prompted chants of shame from the protesters here.
And what are you hearing from those protesters?
Well, they're saying they're taking this action in part because they feel like they've been ignored by the administration of the school for months. They say they have tried writing letters and petitions. They also held a sit-in a few weeks ago outside the principal's office. They did eventually have a meeting with him, about 24 students, to again make their demands for the university to disclose its investments in companies that have ties to Israel, as well as divest. And they say their demands have not been met, and they wanted to escalate to this action now. Here's some of what some of the students are saying.
One thing that's really important is that we don't center ourselves too much. Like this is about Palestine. This is about Gaza. We're just here in solidarity. We're not here to complain about our grievances as students. We're really looking to for the university to actually recognize what's going on in Palestine. They haven't said a word yet, and we're actually hoping that they're going to meet our demands soon.
And we also heard from some faculty members who are here as well supporting the students, saying essentially they think they're not trespassing, as the university has indicated they think they are. The university had said that unauthorized protests or encampments like this would be considered trespassing. Take a listen to what one associate professor here at the school told me.
This is a public university. All the students here are part of the university, and it's their space as well. It's not for university administration to decide where learning happens and where it doesn't happen. This is the best model of university education.
The Faculty Association for U of T has also sent a letter to the administration saying they have concerns about how the school essentially has been handling this. In a letter that was sent to to students a few days ago, basically warning them that unauthorized gatherings like this or encampments would be considered trespassing. The Faculty Association saying that was an unreasonable attempt by the university to limit their freedom of expression. And they're calling on the university to retract that letter to students and essentially let them be here, Natasha. And just finally, one more statement in reaction to this action. We've heard from the group Hillel Ontario, which represents the voices of some Jewish students in this province. And they said in a statement that their most important priority is keeping Jewish students safe. And as such, we urge the University of Toronto administration to enforce their existing policies and hold violators accountable for their actions. We're expecting to hear from a representative of that group a little later this afternoon. Natasha?
CBC's Megan Fitzpatrick at the University of Toronto. Thank you.